Would you believe that for over half a century, the entire global public was fed a massive, highly calculated evolutionary myth disguised as absolute scientific truth? We were systematically taught in schoolrooms that our modern ancestors were a pure, uniquely superior lineage that completely wiped out all other primitive human groups without ever mixing with them. But the frozen soil of the deep past tells a radically different story. Imagine a brutal winter night 40,000 years ago, as howling blizzards rip across the jagged limestone valleys of ancient Eurasia. Amidst the terrifying darkness of this prehistoric wilderness, a small clan clusters tightly around a crackling wood fire for warmth. Among them stands the Ice Age hunter, his face illuminated by the dancing orange flames. He looks around at his companions with a deep sense of shared survival. His features are striking, not deformed or ape-like, but heavily built, weathered by the biting frost, and carrying an undeniable gaze of deep, calculated awareness. He shares a meal of woolly mammoth meat with others who look slightly different from him. Yet according to mid-20th century textbooks, this man was supposed to be a literal evolutionary dead end, a creature entirely separate from our own bloodline. For decades, the word Neanderthal was weaponized as a mainstream insult synonymous with a brutish, brainless subhuman incapable of higher thought. But modern genetic laboratories have recently been forced to concede a staggering truth. The ancient blood of the Ice Age hunter did not vanish into extinction. It is pumping through your veins right now, challenging everything we thought we knew about our roots. The most shocking part of this discovery isn't the extraction of ancient DNA in modern laboratories. The real mystery is why we forgot that serious scientists predicted this exact outcome nearly 100 years ago. Long before the technology to sequence genetic code existed, brilliant evolutionary architects looked at the physical evidence and saw the truth clearly, only to be ignored by mainstream media. In 1955, Theodosius Dobzhansky, one of the primary founders of modern evolutionary genetics, wrote plain, unvarnished words that completely contradict modern documentaries. He stated that Neanderthals undoubtedly belonged to the exact same biological species as modern humans, and that they merged into the expanding human populations through regional hybridization rather than total violent eradication. True Darwinian evolution has never operated through perfectly isolated categories, marching across the planet like separate biblical tribes. Nature thrives on messy population contact, continuous adaptation, and ongoing gene flow. In this balanced framework, the Ice Age hunter was never a failed evolutionary experiment. He was a highly specialized human variant, shaped beautifully by brutal glacial forces. So why was this brilliant perspective systematically erased from the public consciousness in the 1980s? The answer lies in our cultural obsession with simple, heroic narratives. Modern museums, television specials, and textbooks demanded a clean timeline, featuring a flawless, chosen lineage emerging from a single homeland, rather than a complicated, tangled network of ancient human mixtures. By burying the writings of early anthropologists, modern institutions created an artificial gap between us and our ancient cousins. They chose to promote a theory of absolute replacement because it fit the clean, simplified diagrams that look appealing in textbooks, completely ignoring the complex biological realities that earlier geneticists had already masterfully laid out for them. When we look closely at the anatomy of the Ice Age hunter, we don't see primitive flaws. We see an absolute masterpiece of natural engineering. Proponents of the strict replacement theory spent years mocking the wide nasal openings and robust, heavy skeletons of these ancient people, claiming they were definitive proofs of an inferior savage and inherently non-human nature. That argument completely collapses under basic biological scrutiny and environmental logic. In the sub-zero ecosystems of the mammoth steppe, a large nasal cavity acted as a crucial internal heating chamber, warming the freezing air before it reached vulnerable lungs. Without this specialized facial structure, survival in the open tundra would have been an absolute physical impossibility for any human. The massive, thick chest cavity and dense muscle distribution of the Ice Age hunter were essential for retaining vital body heat and enduring extreme trauma during encounters with wild animals. Consider modern human populations living in the harshest environments today, from the high-altitude Andean plateaus to the freezing Arctic tundras. They possess distinct physical adaptations designed for survival. Applying modern, localized aesthetic standards to judge the biological capability or intelligence of an ancient human population is a massive scientific error. The Ice Age hunter led a life dictated by sophisticated strategy, not blind instinct. He mastered the production of specialized stone scrapers, utilized natural adhesives like birch tar to haft weapons, and coordinated complex hunting maneuvers. His robust body was the ultimate survival vehicle for an incredibly unforgiving world, built to endure challenges that would easily break a modern human. To view these physical traits as marks of inferiority is to completely misunderstand how natural selection operates. Every bone, muscle, and ridge was a testament to thousands of years of successful adaptation within the freezing Eurasian climate. Beyond the masterful manipulation of stone and bone, the spiritual and emotional world of these ancient people is what truly shatters the old stereotypes. Let us venture deep into a subterranean cavern far away from the blinding snow. Here, the Ice Age hunter kneels in the damp dust beside the lifeless body of a fallen clan member, surrounding him with a quiet dignity. They did not discard their dead to be desecrated by roaming predators. The Ice Age hunter and his family carefully placed the body in a protective fetal position, gently covering it with wild, colorful flowers and rich red ochre pigments. This is not the behavior of a beast. It is the definitive expression of deep emotional grief, abstract thought, and a clear understanding of mortality. Archaeological records reveal even deeper levels of communal empathy that challenge the narrative of prehistoric savagery. Excavated skeletons show individuals who suffered massive, debilitating physical trauma early in life, such as blinded eyes and amputated limbs, yet survived for decades. This proves that the Ice Age hunter shared his hard-earned food and actively protected the weak. They collected rare bird feathers, modified marine shells, and gathered natural pigments solely for personal adornment and symbolic communication. A structured society built on cooperation, ritualistic burial, emotional depth, and complex vocal communication. This is the true, authentic portrait of the humans we once dismissed as nothing more than grunting, unfeeling cavemen. This emotional and cultural sophistication proves that the leap to modern humanity was not a sudden mutation that happened overnight in a single population. The capacity for love, art, and spirituality was already shining brightly in the dark caves of the Ice Age, shared by different human groups who recognized a deep common bond whenever their paths crossed in the wilderness. To understand how profound this ancient connection truly was, we must look at concrete examples etched permanently into the fossil record. At Shanidar Cave in the Zagros Mountains, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a Neanderthal who lived with severe chronic disabilities. His survival required continuous, dedicated care from his companions over many long years of hardship. Under the harsh laws of pure animal survival, an injured individual is a dangerous liability to be abandoned. Yet the companions of the Ice Age hunter chose to carry him, to heal his deep wounds, and to sustain his life. This is a profound testament to an enduring human spirit and a deep-seated empathy that completely defied the cruel indifference of the prehistoric winter. Consider another remarkable find: the 24,000-year-old skeletal remains of a child discovered in Portugal. This individual displayed an undeniable mosaic of both modern human and Neanderthal anatomical traits, buried with ceremonial care. This child's existence provides definitive proof that these two populations did not view each other as alien enemies, but as partners, mates, and family. These real-world examples completely dismantle the aggressive, outdated narrative of a prehistoric Holocaust, where superior modern humans wiped out archaic populations. There was no total war of extermination across the ancient continent. There were, instead, countless quiet meetings across Eurasia where different human groups recognized their shared humanity and chose to merge their lifeways. The genetic signatures found in modern populations are the permanent receipts of these ancient alliances. We did not destroy them. We absorbed them. The story of human origins is not a story of violent conquest and racial purity, but a beautiful, complex narrative of integration, shared knowledge, and mutual survival during one of the most hostile climate periods the Earth has ever seen. The collapse of the rigid barriers surrounding Neanderthal identity leaves us with an enduring lesson in scientific humility. Science is rarely a flawless procession of objective truths. It is a human enterprise, deeply influenced by the cultural anxieties, biases, and institutional momentum of any given era. We desperately want to believe we are special, standing completely apart from nature. Yet nature continuously shatters our arrogant attempts to isolate ourselves from the rest of the biosphere. The legacy of the Ice Age hunter proves that our modern identity is not defined by a line of immaculate, unblemished ancestry, but by an extraordinary, tangled network of diverse human populations, finding unique ways to survive together against all odds on a changing planet. When we open those forgotten anthropology books from decades ago, we don't just discover lost facts. We find a profound warning about our own intellectual vanity. We must never assume that our current generation holds the final, complete monopoly on truth. Nor should we dismiss the brilliant insights of the past simply because they lack modern high-tech packaging. So does knowing that we carry the blood of Neanderthals diminish our value as modern humans? Or does it make our shared origin story infinitely more magnificent and profound? Does it prove that we are stronger together through connection rather than isolation? Let me know your thoughts on this ancient mystery in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going.